From Atlanta, Georgia, welcome to Fearfully and Wonderfully Me, a podcast for women on leadership and life skills with Rhea Story. Rhea shares powerful life and leadership principles, helping you maximize your potential and become the woman God created you to be.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's episode on Leadership Gems for Women. Be realistic. I think that leaders are challenged to be realistic because leaders by nature, when we are leaders, we're visionaries to some degree because leaders have a vision for what's possible, what is. And that's important. We have to be visionaries. We have to have that vision in order to influence other people. But we also have to balance that with reality. We can really define the word realistic, even the dictionary. Merriam-Webster defines realistic as concern for fact or reality. Because as women, as leaders, we have to see the situation clearly in order to act appropriately. Because our goals, our dreams, our vision, sometimes we have to just come back down to earth and make sure that that's based on reality, because we have a responsibility to others to make our decisions based on facts and not fantasies. And maybe that means setting a strategic goal for your company that's realistic, or maybe it means setting a realistic budget for your family. You must first honestly evaluate where you are. What's the situation? What's the circumstance? And then you can be positive about it, but being optimistically realistic is kind of a fine balance. Yes, you can do absolutely just about anything you decide to do if it's physically possible, but we have to be realistic about the possibilities and about the opportunities, but we also have to be realistic about the price or the cost. Gabby Douglas is an example that I love to use here, and because she overcame the fact that she didn't start formal gymnastics training until she was 6 years old. And that's a huge hurdle because most successful gymnasts at her level, world class Olympic gymnast, medal winner, start gymnastics training when they are between 2 and 3 years old. And she didn't start formal gymnastics training until she was 6. So she was already several years behind her peers when she started being formally coached and trained as a gymnast. But she went on to win multiple gold medals in the Olympics. But she had to be realistic about the cost and the price that was going to be required of her in order to reach that world-class level. She had to be realistic about the hours and the training and just the intensity at which she was going to have to train in order to upskill her abilities. And, as leaders, we have to be realistic about where we are starting from before we can decide if the price is worth it. And there's nothing wrong with being optimistic. We should be optimistic, but we also have to balance that with reality. It's not about you've heard the analogy of putting your head in the sand and pretending things will all be better tomorrow. But as leaders, we're challenged with being realistic. For me, I would love to. I have so many interests and things that are exciting, but I have to be realistic about the fact that I can't do everything, and I have to be realistic about what I'm not really gifted at and make sure that I don't, waste my time going in that direction. For example, if you've heard of the old TV show from several years back, American Idol, and I really don't watch TV, but we used to this. We went through a season where this TV show called American Idol would come on, and kind of that was where what Mac and I did together. It was like once a week it would come on, and we would sit down for the hour, and we'd sit down together and watch this TV show. And we really don't watch TV, but even today we spend time together watching a movie or something like that, and that's a recreational thing for us. But I remember this TV show called American Idol, and it was interesting because all the contestants would come on and they would try out to, win the American Idol award and be the top singer. And some of these people just weren't realistic about their ability to sing. And, you know, they needed some truth tellers in their life to just say, look, you are obviously are very passionate about this, to go through the audition process, but you are not gifted as a singer. And sometimes it's easy when we find things that are exciting, or opportunities, or big dreams, but we have to be realistic about that. You can accomplish incredible things when you're determined to do so, absolutely. But the price might be more than you're willing to pay. Um, James Russell Lowell said, "No one can produce great things who is not thoroughly sincere in dealing with himself." Or it should say herself too, I guess. But we have to be realistic. So take time and reflect on a regular basis to raise your self-awareness. Consider your strengths and your weaknesses, your goals, your direction that you're going, your dreams, and be realistic about the path that you have to take to get there, and be realistic about what's required. You can sharpen your strengths and improve your weaknesses, but remember that you should work in your strength zone when it comes to your talents and abilities. And that requires a very realistic look at what are your strengths, gifts, and talents. So work in your strength zone when it comes to your talents and abilities. Work on your weaknesses when it comes to your character, because those weaknesses of character are what hold us back. And remember, our character is how we do what we do. Character is the intangible things like attitude or integrity or work ethic. That's character. So weaknesses of character are what hold us back and keep us from accomplishing what we want to do. So work in strength zone on talents, gifts, and abilities. Work on weaknesses when it comes to character. Strengths related to your talents will allow you to accomplish great things because you're gifted in those areas. But weaknesses of character will keep you from accomplishing those great things because they're a stumbling block. And Gabby Douglas she's naturally very talented as an athlete, absolutely, but she had to have incredible discipline, which is strength of character, in order to maximize her potential as an athlete and offset the fact that she started, at 6 years old, she started pretty late in life to be formally training as a gymnast. And if she had lacked discipline, regardless of how naturally gifted she was as an athlete, she would never have achieved the same results in her life. So being realistic will help you maintain an important perspective. It'll help you keep that perspective based on reality. And that's it. That's where we can start to achieve something. So we absolutely have to be realistic. Being realistic about ourselves, our goals, our strengths will allow you to become more successful as a woman. And as a leader, being realistic about other people and their strengths and weaknesses will allow you to become very effective as a leader. Peter Marshall said, "Give us clear vision that we may know where to stand and what to stand for." And as a leader, it's important to set that vision and cast it and help people see it and believe it. But we have to be realistic about the situation and be realistic about the progress that we can make. One of my favorite quotes from Henry Cloud says, "The biggest enemy of the small steps, big results principle is our craving for having it all. All or nothing thinking keeps people stuck in destructive ruts. All success is built and sustained just like a building is built, one brick at a time." Until next time.
Start increasing your influence and maximizing your potential with Ria's audiobooks. Available at audible.com, amazon.com, and iBooks. Please visit riastory.com to learn about Ria's books, resources, speaking, and training programs. Thanks for listening.